I'm so excited to be here tonight with everybody. Um, Lindsay, that was incredible, right? Like the more that we learn about products and do it in a way that makes sense to us, the more we can talk about it to other people and feel confident. And when we are confident and certain in what we're talking about, that's how the message of mental wellness gets further and further. And so just thank you for your wisdom, Lindsay, because the way that you speak it makes me feel like, wait, I can take a piece of that and make it make sense to somebody else. And that's so, so important. Now, as we are going to our next speaker, I'm really excited. And some of you on here may have heard her speak before. If this is your first introduction, like grab a notebook and grab a pen because you're going to take so many notes. And what you're going to learn tonight, you're going to be able to put into play right away, and you will see results in your business. So, Mandy Mitchell is an incredible human that I have gotten to meet through Amari, and watching her, there is like it's amazing to watch somebody who is working in their craft, right? Like when they are speaking and when they are just working in what their zone of genius is. And when Mandy is teaching on business and how to help others grow in this business, she is in her zone of genius. And when I talked to her about what she could come on and talk about tonight, we really got into the conversation of how do you help move somebody from that initial conversation to actually converting into a sale and understanding this isn't just about a one-time sale. This is now a relationship of somebody to continue to use products and come back, and then they start sharing as well, because it seems to be the gap that we have. A lot of us are probably comfortable with sharing on social media or maybe sharing with a friend, but then we're like, okay, I posted and I did all this stuff, but why are people not enrolling? And Mandy is the master at conversations and taking from a post and a drop in the DMs all the way to, okay, I need to place this order, and then how do I go about sharing? Now again, I've met Mandy through Amari, but before Amari, she has built big businesses. Like we're talking big businesses. She knows what to do. She knows how to talk to people. She knows how to get people excited. Like when I want to learn something, I lean into Mandy and I say, what is she doing? How is she showing up? How does she talk to other people? How does she teach? What is she doing? So, Mandy, I'm going to open this up for you because I know what you are bringing tonight is going to help everybody level up. And I've got my notebook and pen ready. So, game on, girl.
Hi. Well, I'm just gonna let Jill send me voice memos with things like that every day. I've had a day, y'all. So to hear someone say nice things about me is like, oh, okay. All right. It's good. I'm fine. I'm a good human. Somebody likes me. So thank you. I appreciate that. Um, I'm super excited to be on here. I am going to do my very best to keep this as short as I can and still give you everything that I have for you because I'm going to talk about not only exactly what Jill said, but I'm going to kind of give us a little preamble to what Jill said I'm going to talk about too, because I will maybe agree a little bit with Jill in the sense that like one of my very favorite things to do is get someone from point A. They saw my post or I started a conversation with them to the yes please and the alert on my phone that I got an order, right? That is one of my very favorite things to do. But I'm going to kind of backtrack us just a little bit because, well, how did I get into the conversation with them to begin with? How did I create content that started conversations? And I know through all the things that I talk to people about on my own team, also I work for a coaching program in the network marketing space. So I coach women and men in multiple companies in multiple countries. And this is something that everybody has kind of been noticing over the last handful of months, maybe the last year. How do I actually create the content that converts into a conversation? Because let's be real, our content doesn't convert into a sale. It used to years and years and years ago. Now our content has to convert into a conversation, and the conversation has to convert to a sale. So I'm going to go through that with you all. I'm going to try and go quickly. But also, if you have been on a call with me, you know I can get on a tangent sometimes. So somebody reel me back in, or if it's too long, or if you have to go make dinner or feed your family, it's okay. This is being recorded. I'm confident of that. So you'll have it later. Now I'm also really bad at sharing my screen, so let me see if I can do this correctly. Okay. Can y'all see this? It says, "Where is everybody?" Okay. I am gonna open up the chat box too, just in case, so I don't miss anything over here. Okay. Well, and you can't see my chat box, right? You can only see what I'm sharing. I'm so dumb about this, y'all. Okay. Jesus help me. Sometimes I'm just like, Lord, hear my prayer. Okay, let me get through this. All right. So I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, and I'm going to give you a little bit of history about what we're going to go through right now. So I was actually just the keynote speaker at an event last month for a small group of leaders in network marketing, probably about 150 people. So it wasn't a massive event, but this is one of the things that we talked about. So I'm going to go through the almost the identical speech training, whatever you want to call it, that I gave that group of people, except I added on even juicier stuff because Laura's gave me a little bit more time than I had on that stage. So you get even more stuff that they got. So I'm super excited about it. So and because I love you guys, right? And I want you all to know more stuff than the other people that I coach, right? Is that fair to say? Does that make me a bad person? Okay. So I just want you to raise your hand. When I say raise your hand, please know that I was a teacher in my previous life. So Teacher Mandy always says raise your hand. And when I say raise your hand, you can just say me in the chat. But raise your hand if at any point recently you've like posted about Amari products or your Amari business and you're like, where the heck is everybody? Like, maybe your mom liked it, which I always say is so funny because my mom never likes my posts. She just texts me later and then says, I saw you went to a concert this weekend. Like she doesn't, so she watches everything I do, but doesn't interact with it. So I can't even say my mom. Okay. So lots of people think that they've experienced this. All right, well here's what's really awesome. Like you haven't been shadow banned or anything, but the game on social media and how our content gets its way in front of other people, it's just totally changed. So, this is why it feels sometimes like we are just talking to a void, and it is because the algorithm changed. So these are like actual statistics about what used to happen to us and what's happening to us now. So back in like 2012, our organic reach without us doing anything at all was about 12%, which does, or 16%, which doesn't sound like a big number, but it actually is a pretty big number. It was back in that era. Tell me if you remember this, where you would get on to Facebook or Instagram at the end of the night and you could see all the things that all your friends posted about that day. You could just catch up with everybody's life and scroll backwards. And then there was this weird little area where it was like, this is so weird. I'm seeing what my friends posted, but it's not in order. Okay. And then all of a sudden now it's like we don't see anything our friends post. We have to go look for it. Okay, because that's what our organic reach is now in 2026. Our organic reach is only 1 to 2% of our chosen network, our friends and followers. Only 1 to 2% are seeing our posts. So for every 500 friends you have, best case scenario, 10 of those people will see. And I would guess that this is actually a very generous percentage. And I would guess it's probably more on the one side than it is the two, just based off of what I'm experiencing and what I'm seeing other people experience in the space. Okay. So I want you to just kind of do the math in your head for just a second or screenshot this so you can do the math for yourself later because it's always good when you're trying to make a shift or a pivot in your business. Like it's hard to know where you want to go and how to get there if you don't know where you're starting, right? So this is just a good thing to kind of do a little gut check on yourself for. Um, just figure out like what is your current friends or followers list and at I would say 1%. If there's 1% reach per post, okay? And then how many times per week are you posting about your business? And when I say posting about your business, I mean the product or the business. So anytime you see on these slides or in my voice where I say posting about your business, I mean your products are part of your business, right? I don't mean like recruiting necessarily. But if you do this math, how many people are seeing your content? So I want you to think about that. 500 people, 5 to 10 people seeing it. If you're posting only twice a week about your business or your products, only about 20 people are seeing it. And here's the thing, they're not probably 20 new people every single week. It's not like you're getting in front of 80 new people every week. It's probably the same 20, the way the algorithm is working. So we used to kind of say, hey, you don't want to be a infomercial for your business. Everybody needs to know, like, and trust you and know that you've got all these other things going on in your life so you can just trickle your business in and it will work. That's what it used to be. We used to call it the 80/20 rule. 80% your life. I see Laura nodding her head. Those of us who have been in the space for a long time have heard this. Okay? 80/20, 80/20, 80% your regular life and 20% your business. Y'all, it's not going to work in 2026 anymore for those reasons. So I noticed this and started talking with some of the other coaches in the program that I work for. And what was interesting is we were both kind of we were all kind of, there's three of us, four of us. We were all kind of recognizing the same thing at the same time. And so I said, well, I wonder what would happen if I flipped the script because I was doing that 80/20, maybe not exactly 80/20, but way more about my regular life than about my product or my business. So back in like March, April, I flipped the script. Okay. And I started doing 80/20, but posting 80% about my products and my business. Y'all probably saw it get real crazy if you're following me, where you were like, does Mandy care about anything other than collagen? I don't know. Is she a human being? Right? So instead of going 80/20 personal business, I went 80/20 business personal. And it didn't mean necessarily, here's my key I want to share. It didn't mean necessarily that I pulled back from my personal shares. It meant I kind of stuck with a lot of personal shares and 3, 4, 5x to the amount of times I was talking about my business. That's what I did. It's not what you have to do, but I'm telling you that's what I did. Okay. I noticed that what I was doing before wasn't working because I just felt like I was talking to the abyss and I wasn't getting into the conversations. And again, our content has to convert into conversations and our conversations have to convert into sales. So if I can't get people into conversations, for those of you who've worked with me for a while, and we're going to talk about this probably at the end for a hot minute, I don't rely on my content to get me into conversations. If I'm not in a conversation by the end of the day, I reach out to somebody and start one. That's an entirely different training that I could get into, or maybe I've even done already, can't remember. Um, but I need my content, y'all, to get me into conversations. I have a goal. I'm looking at my whiteboard right now with the rank that I am working for, and if I just post and pray, I'm not going to get where I want to go. So when I noticed that I wasn't getting the engagement I wanted and I couldn't get into enough conversations, I had to do something, right? So I still did, this plenty of life content, okay? I still did plenty of that, but I did more business. I don't know why my stuff says more life content, more story, more of me. It should say more business content, more story, more of my business, more of products. So thank you, Claude, for not getting that part right on this slide that I made you make for me. And also, thank you, Mandy, for not double checking it. So I decided to flip from 80/20 to 20/80. So personal was 80, now personal is 20. Okay. The result is that I tripled my enrollments for 3 consecutive months. So I enrolled more people in April, May, June, and July than I did probably, I'd have to go back and look to get the exact numbers, but probably the 9 or 10 months prior to that. So it was a lot. It was a huge shift. And, we've kind of been told, raise your hand. Again, this is Teacher Mandy. Raise your hand if you're like, oh, but I was told to niche down and I was told to focus on this one thing and I was told to, okay, okay, here's the really good news. If you could never figure out a niche, I could never figure out a niche. Okay, here's the good news. We don't have to have a niche anymore. It's not the way social media is working anymore. What we have discovered is that people are showing up on social media and using it as a search engine the way they used to use Google. And so you don't necessarily have to have a niche, but if you have one, don't abandon it. Okay, who you are is your superpower. Don't abandon it. But here's how I want you to look at this. Your audience, the people that are following you, they are wired, if you have a niche, okay, they're wired to look for that niche from you and only that niche from you. So let's say you're like I used to be back in the day, and all I did was post recipes. That would be all people would be expecting from me. So throwing in my business or my products every once in a while, right over their head. Okay. I have a woman that I coach. I have two women that I coach specifically. They have special needs kiddos. And so they share very openly about the challenges of motherhood with a special needs child and all the things that they do and the medically challenged things and feeding tubes and da 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 and like such a great story. And they have so much interaction on those posts that are their niche. And then they would randomly, because they were doing 80/20, 80% my life, 20% my business, then they'd do a post about, a challenge for their child and get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of interactions, and then post something about their business or product and get zero. And this is because our audience, they have this thing, we all have this thing. It's called our reticular activating system. And this is what your brain is wired to look for. Some of you who've worked with me before have heard this talked about before, but this is what's also happening with our content. It's kind of like, my daughter wanted a red Jeep. That's what she wanted when she turned 16. That's was like she was going to die if we didn't get her a red Jeep. And it was like we saw red Jeeps everywhere. Okay. It wasn't that all of a sudden when she was 15 years old, everybody in my town had a red Jeep. That's that's not what was happening. It's just because that was the conversation that we were having all the time, we just noticed it more, right? So the same thing is happening if, we're always about our family, always about our family, always about our family, always about our family, or even in some cases, y'all, always about menopause, always about menopause, always about menopause, always about menopause, and then we're going to do a product. Well, that's not a menopause educational piece, so our audience doesn't see it. Our audience doesn't know it. Our audience, it flies right over their head because you aren't now you aren't educating them. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying abandon who you are. We're not going to post less about our life or our niche to make room for the products. We're just going to add more product business posts to our platform. Does this make sense? So I'm not telling you back off what makes you you or what you're passionate about or what you love. Okay. I'm just saying we have to 10x the other stuff. If we want to be in conversations about our products or our business, we are going to have to do more and more and more of it. And we're going to get into a little bit more of the stats behind this. And then I promise we're going to get into how to, then once you have the conversation, how to convert them. Promise. Okay. So this is another screenshot that you can take. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this is like how to find your right number if you want to start making that shift in your business. If you're going, "Oh, I'm not doing that and I need to." This is going to be a great way to help you find the right number to make sure that you're giving the people in your audience enough chances to actually see your stuff. Because here's what's happening, y'all. And I don't remember if I have a slide on this or not, so we might get to it. It might be the next one. I don't know. Um, but here's kind of what's happening, y'all. You're selling something, and listen, I am very proud of the fact that I sell something. So I'm going to use the word sell. I know everybody loves to like make it all warm and cozy and say share and so okay, yeah, you're sharing something, you're serving people 110%. If it's not about them and it's only about you, your business will never be successful. I hear all of that 110%, but you're selling something. I'm selling something. We're proud of that because we're selling somebody something that will help them. So I'm going to use this word. I'm selling something, Laura's selling something, Jill is selling something, my friend down the road is selling something. I buy things from my friend down the road. Everybody's selling something, and not only is everybody selling something, but even big companies are using the formula that we have been using for forever as influencers, and that's how they're selling their products too. This is why UCG has become so popular because companies want content like we've been creating for forever. So when your audience gets on social media in the morning, your content is competing with a million other people that are selling them something. Okay. And we're going to kind of break down how to make sure that your content breaks through all of that so that you can get into conversations. Okay. I use this. Let me make sure. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to make sure I had a slide on the part I want to talk about next. What did I do? I'm going back. No, I'm going back. How do I go back? There we go. Hopefully, I didn't confuse anybody. See, I'm really bad at this stuff. Proof that you don't have to be smart to do all the things. Okay. So I like to call this my like Whole Foods method, and I'm a metaphorical girly. So you're going to hear this is why I call it my Whole Foods method because I'm going to give you a little metaphor here. Okay. We have this incredible product line with tons of different products, right? We've got incredible supplements, we've got great skincare, we've got great hair care, we've got all these sorts of things that we can share about. And not even that, but like then within our supplement categories, there are categories, right? You could talk about energy one day, and then you could talk about hormones the next, and then you could talk about weight loss the next, and then you could talk about collagen, and then you could talk about, I mean, I could spend a month making content just about relief. Like we have so many things, okay? But because of what I just explained to you earlier, that we're in competition with everything and it's hard, our organic reach is harder and harder. What we're also seeing statistically on social media is that when we talk about everything, all the things, people remember nothing. They don't connect with us the same way as when we kind of focus in on one thing. So I call this the Whole Foods method, and I'm speaking specifically about Whole Foods, the grocery store. Anybody drop a me if you've been inside of a Whole Foods, or tell me if you don't even know what a Whole Foods is, because apparently people in Canada don't have Whole Foods. Do you have a Whole Foods? Okay, so Melissa says we don't have that. It's a fancy schmancy grocery store where everything is like 6 times more expensive than it needs to be. We'll just call it that. Okay. Dead serious. There is a brand of lettuce that I buy at Walmart that is $3.99, and at Whole Foods it's $6.99. It's the exact same thing of lettuce. There is a snack that I get for my son at Walmart that is exactly the same thing. Nothing different, same brand, same packaging, same size, nothing. Three something at Walmart, five or six something at Whole Foods. So it's just ridiculously expensive. So I don't buy groceries there. Okay. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. But I have to go there every once in a while because that is where my closest Amazon return center is. And I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon and then return it. Okay. That's what I do. It's kind of my jam. I'll buy the whatever, like, oh, I got a concert I have to go to. I'm gonna buy 17 outfits, keep one and return the rest. Okay. So I go there a lot. This is like how our people show up on social media. I don't pull into the Whole Foods parking lot going, I'm going to buy groceries here today. And your people aren't showing up on social media going, I have my wallet. What's Mandy selling? What's Jill selling? That's not what's happening. They're showing up for some specific reason other than that, either to be entertained, check out what's new on the Lindsay Clancy case. I don't know, something. Maybe search for a problem because that's what we're finding people are doing. In fact, I have a friend, sidebar, his business has always been to research like Google Analytics for clients so they know how to advertise. And he was telling me a month or so ago that now they actually look at Facebook and Instagram search analytics just as much as Google because people aren't Googling things as much as they used to, and now they're searching on social media. So people are either showing up to be entertained or they're looking for a solution to a problem. That's going to be very key. So write that down. They're looking for a solution to a problem. And that's why they're showing up. They didn't come with their wallet expecting to buy something from you. I did not go into Whole Foods expecting to buy anything. But guess what Whole Foods does? Right by the Amazon line, there are two or three little multi-tiered tables. And for the last year, that multi-tiered table has always had all the smelly stuff on it. Candles, lotions, soaps, stuff that smells good. Okay. And so guess what I do while I'm waiting in line? I sniff it. I go, oh, what's this? Oh, that one smells good. Oh, I like this hand soap. And by the time I get done with my Amazon return, now I have like a candle and a soap. And then I think to myself, well, hell's bells. I'm gonna buy this candle and this soap. I might as well get the lettuce and the snack. Even though I could literally drive up the road and go to Walmart, this will save me an extra stop, so I'm just gonna get it. This is kind of, that's half of what we have to do with our content, right? We have to recognize the fact that our people are not showing up on social media with their wallet in hands to buy something from us. They're looking for a solution to a problem. That's me in my Amazon. That's why or to be entertained. That's me in the Amazon line, but I have to show them something that's exciting for them to stop and smell. And then once they have that candle in their cart, then I can talk to them about all the things in the other aisles. And why this is important is because what's really working right now is honing in on one piece of your business, product, or service. Now, that could be one product, like collagen, 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 collagen. It could be one bundle, happy, healthy, happy, happy. That's where I am right now. Happy, healthy, happy, healthy, happy, healthy, happy, healthy, happy, healthy. That's my focus. But my first focus was just collagen. I abandoned almost every other thing that I love from Amari and I just talked about collagen and I said I'm going to do this for 90 days. 30 days of just focusing on that one thing is going to give you quick wins. 60 days is going to build momentum and it's going to give you an opportunity to deepen the story. And we're going to talk about that. I hope y'all will stay on with me because I promise it's going to be good. We're going to talk about how you deepen the story. And then in 90 days, you basically start to become known for that product. Like I was at church and this lady turned around. Our pastor always goes, "Oh, turn around and say hi to the person around you," right? And the person it turned around and I was like, "Hi, good morning." And she was like, "I think I follow you on Facebook and you have like a little collagen shot. Do you think if I only posted about the collagen shot once or twice a week, that would have happened to me?" No. It's because I just didn't shut up about it. Okay? Now, here's what happens at Whole Foods. Okay? June, I'll give you an example. May, June, July, August. It was all, citrus and watermelon mint and strawberry fields and okay. So they got me in June. They got me in July. They almost got me in August, but I was like, no, I'm going to Walmart. I'm not buying the lettuce and the snacks here. I refuse. But guess what's going to happen in about a week or two when I have an Amazon return? Anybody want to take a guess? And this is why I call this the Whole Foods method. Yeah, Melissa doesn't even have a Whole Foods, and she was the first person to guess. The candles and the smells and the lotions, it's going to be pumpkin spice, apple fritter, cinnamon sticks, fall leaves. Ah, and then I'm going to get sucked in again, y'all. And so this is why I call this the Whole Foods methods, because once I started to feel like, oh, okay, I think everybody's getting sick of my summer scent, my collagen, just talking about collagen, man, Happy Juice started showing back up in my feed, and I started talking about Happy Juice, and I started talking about, going back to talking about it, what it's done for my gut and what it's done for my mood. And so now I can make my next 90 days where all I'm going to do is talk about the Happy Healthy Pack. So I'm now switching, I'm converting from just collagen to talking about collagen and Happy Juice. And I'm going to do that, and I'm not going to shut up about that for 90 days, right? So you can pick one product or one bundle, tell every angle of that story, and then you can rotate. Okay. And here's what I mean by tell every angle of that story. Remember when I said people aren't really seeing our posts? Here's why that's great for us because we don't have to think of a million new ideas. We don't have to have a brand new idea every single day or 3 times a day. We can tell every angle of the same story over and over and over and over and over again. I'm gonna give you one small example of that, and then if we have time and people want to stay on and like, and I can elaborate, I will, but I don't want us to be on here for forever. So I'm really trying to wrap it up, because we still have to get to the conversation part, but I promise I'll be fast. Um, but like, here's a really good example. When I talk about college, or when I talk specifically about Happy Juice for me, I have multiple things that Happy Juice did for me. So I can focus on my gut health. And I can tell every different version of that story. I can have a story where I talk about how I used to get in the car and unbuckle my pants before I would buckle my seatbelt. That's a story. I can talk about how I felt 5 months pregnant all the time. That's part of the story. I can talk about how it didn't matter if I ate a piece of pizza or a piece of lettuce. I was uncomfortable and I hurt. That's a part of the story. I can talk about, do you see what I mean? There are multiple ways for me to share the gut health piece. There's multiple ways for me to share the stress resilience piece. Oh, I used to nap every day. I can tell that same story over and over and over again. Okay. I'm going to move a little bit faster because this is the key. This is the kind of content now that you know, like, oh, I have to show up more. Oh, it might be helpful if I picked something. Now I want to talk about when you go to make content about that thing, what kind of content is working best. And once you know this, it's going to become so easy to just make multiple pieces of content. Okay. This is where we pull in another, um, uh, no. What is going on? I did not. We're going to ignore this. Why did I not proofread after I? This is me with Claude, y'all, because I'm so bad at making slides. Claude, can you make the next slide talk about this? Okay, great. Now I need the next slide to talk about this. Okay, great. Now here's what I want to say on the next slide. So I apologize. We are gonna ignore this. I'm gonna like skip over it, actually. We're gonna ignore this because it's not written correctly. But here's where the 80-20 ratio does work, okay? It was very confused. I apologize. I'll make a better one so we can send it maybe if you want, Laura. I'll fix it. Um, 80%. So now we know it's 80% we're going to talk about our product and our business, and 20% we're going to talk about our life. Now, when we're talking about our product or our business, here is another 80-20 that does work as well. 80% of your post, we need to address the problem. 20% we need to address the solution. Doesn't mean you don't put in educational pieces. It doesn't mean you don't take all this amazing science about the collagen that we just learned and write posts around that. Doesn't mean we don't do that. But the posts where you're going to end up in the most conversations, I promise you, are going to be where you really lay it on thick about the problem that you can solve for people. Because remember what I said? People are showing up to look for a solution, but they don't know what the solution is. So all they're typing in is their problem. They're typing in bloating. They're typing in gut health. They're typing in wrinkles. They're typing in collagen loss. They're typing in stress. They're typing in crappy mood. They're typing in the problem because they don't have the solution yet. So and people are not going to recognize that your solution is for them unless they recognize that you understand the problem that they have. So, for example, let's say I was going to go live, which I almost never do because I hate it. But let's say I was going to go live and talk about Happy Juice, and I gave myself a 10-minute window. I would spend 8 minutes talking about, and this is how I felt, and my stomach, and and it hurt, and I had reflux, and I was so grumpy, and food hurt my tummy, and I was so miserable, and I could never eat anything, and my doctor told me it was normal, and because what I want is people to go, yeah, yeah, me too. Me too. That's me, Mandy. That happened to me. My doctor said that to me. I feel that way. Everything I eat hurts my stomach. I feel 9 months pregnant. I can't lose weight. I feel stressed out all the time. I feel on edge. I feel overwhelmed. Because if I can get them to see the problem that I can solve for them, I don't have to really say much about the solution. I can just go, so thank goodness I found this new supplement stack because I don't have any of those problems anymore and I feel like $1 million. What are you drinking? What is that? What's the supplement stack? What did you switch to? What are you using? You want to know why they want to know what I'm using? Because I didn't spend the entire post educating them on how amazing I feel. I spent the entire post or why. I spent the entire post telling them how crappy I used to feel. Does that make sense? Can y'all say something if you're with me? Okay, so that's the kind of content that's going to convert. And what I suggest is just sitting down one day and like brain dumping. Who was I before I started these products? What did I feel like? What's a great example? What would have happened to me on a day where my stomach really hurt bad? Can I think of a time where that made me not want to go to an event, or I canceled on my friends, or I had to leave dinner in the middle of dinner? Like, I don't know what your story is, but if we can really, really dive in and get very specific, you are going to have better results with content that speaks so specifically to one person than you are trying to cast this wide net that says, if your gut's a mess, you need this. I'd rather have just one person comment on my thing and go, oh my God, Mandy, I also did not want to get naked with my husband ever because I felt so bloated and gross. That's a very specific thing. My whole internet is not going to relate to that. But I'm not trying to get the whole internet to relate to it. I'm looking for very specific people that I can serve. So I'm going to get as specific as possible and as loud as possible about the problem that I solve for people. Okay. So this is something you can screenshot if you just want to take a look at your content and see if you're doing enough. Okay. Um, the most important thing is don't mess up good for perfect. Okay. And for those of you who've worked with me for a long time, this is not my saying. This is a friend and mentor of mine who used to say this all the time. Do not mess up good for perfect. Don't try and make the most perfect post. What we do sometimes is we work so hard to try and get this perfect that we don't give ourselves a chance to be good. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes we're trying so hard to be perfect at this, we mess up an opportunity to just be good. And I can promise you, the more perfect you are, the less people even relate to you. So, okay. So now here's the part that Jill actually said I was going to train on, but this part's fast. What do I do if my content doesn't convert that day? I just told y'all I have a goal, and if I don't talk to somebody today about this, then I'm not going to get any closer to my goal today. So if I do post content and it's 80, I've been talking about my business and my products, and I make a great post today and it's mostly about the problem that I solve, and it's like crickets. How do I start conversations that get me to a yes? Okay. I used to say the person who has the most conversations wins, but I don't say that anymore. I say the person who starts the most conversations wins. And that might be with the content that you create. Okay. But it's also going to be with just how we reach out to somebody. Okay. So, how do we start a conversation with someone? This is going to be the part that like maybe makes you pucker your butt a little bit or get a little sweaty, but I'm telling you, this is what I do on the days where my content doesn't start a conversation. I will share a story with somebody. So I am looking specifically, and this is why, y'all, I encourage you to please, if I could ask you to do one thing, please go into our team pages where we collect testimonials. And I really, really, really want you, for the sake of all of our businesses, so we can all help each other grow, I want you to write your story. And it can be, you might have 5 different stories based off of 5 different products. Okay. But I really want you to write your story in this way, because these are the kind of stories I'm looking for. And these are the kind of stories that start conversations for me. Finding a story that someone has shared where it says, before I was, remember that problem? Then I did. Now I am. Those are the stories I'm looking for. Okay. I'm looking for someone who's going to explain just how junky they felt before this. And then they found this, and now they have it. Just say, oh my gosh, my skin is so much better now that I started this collagen. That's not going to work. What's going to work is, my skin used to be so dry. I had these laugh lines that made me so upset because my makeup always settled in it. I've tried 8 million creams. I have a drawer full of things. Do you get where I'm going with this? Okay. The mental wellness movement group has a ton of stories in it, but I'm gonna be honest, we need more that are written like this to do what a good story can do. So please do that. So I will sometimes ask a teammate or a customer to write their story in this way if I need a story for something. Okay. This is also a great formula for your posts before, then, now. Okay. And this is what I do, y'all. I literally grab that story if I didn't talk to anybody today. And I would go, Laura. Maybe Laura and I have chit-chatted about the collagen in the past and she didn't pull the trigger. It wasn't the right time. I'm gonna go, Laura. I saw this story today and it stopped me in my tracks. Do you relate to this at all? And then I'm gonna send her the story of the person who had this incredible collagen experience that I think she might relate to. Okay? That is it. Period. End of story. I send someone a story. All the facts in the world will not do for you what a story will do in your business. There is a reason why there is that cliche thing that says facts tell, stories sell, because like we heard earlier, nobody cares. They just care if it works. Nobody cares. We got all that science in the beginning, but you know what I picked up on? I picked up on when she said nobody really cares about the science. They just care about whether or not it will give someone a result, whether or not it will solve the problem, not how it solves the problem, that it will solve the problem. So I start a conversation. I tell myself my head will not hit the pillow and without me if I don't get a conversation started from my content, I share a story with someone, okay? And then this is how it looks after that. When they say yes, let's say I sent this to Laura. Maybe Laura was complaining about her hair not growing, okay? And then I saw a testimony from someone who used when she didn't say yes to the collagen, okay? And then somebody posts about how their hair is growing like crazy. Before it wouldn't grow, then I started this collagen, now it's growing like a weed. And I might say to Laura, Laura, oh my gosh, I know we talked about the collagen a little while ago and it wasn't the right time, but I saw this story today and it stopped me in my tracks. Do you want to see what I said, did you relate? Sorry, do you relate to this at all? And Laura reads it and goes, oh my gosh, I absolutely relate to that. My hair wasn't growing either. And perimenopause and menopause and blah, 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 whatever. And she says she relates. I go, do you want to see what they used? Well, of course Laura's going to want to see what they used. I just proved to her that something exists that will solve her problem. Okay? And then she says yes. And then I send what I call a pricing paragraph. Okay? I don't get in the weeds. I don't get into the science. I literally send this. Okay. So this is what you need, what I use, and what most people are choosing to start with. You can screenshot this. Sometimes, if we haven't talked about the collagen at all, obviously I'm going to say, oh, she's using something called new collagen. Let me send you some data on it. And I'll send a little blurb about what the collagen is. Okay. But if she's somebody I've already kind of talked to about it, like in this case, Laura, and I just want to make sure I'm starting another conversation today, I'm going to say, okay, this is what you need. This is what I use and what most people are choosing to start with. It's $125 with my discount and coupon codes, but normally it's $150. You'll start to feel amazing on day one. See changes so quick and you're saving $25 when you order with my link. You'll never pay the $150. I know this will help you so much and give you the long-term results you're looking for. Plus, we have a 90-day money-back guarantee, so you can't really go wrong. What do you think? I just care about the answer to that question. What do you think? Laura might say, "Oh, I can't afford that." And then we work on price objections, which I'm not going to do on this call because we'll be here for forever. She might go, "Oh my gosh, this sounds so good, but I have to wait till Friday." Oh my God. My goal is I want to get to that question. What do you think? This whole thing is built on sales psychology. This is what it normally is. This is how much it is with me. You're going to feel so good and get the long-term results you're looking for. And even if you don't, we have a 90-day money back guarantee. So nothing to worry about. What do you think? This formula is built on sales psychology. You can tweak it to make it sound like you, but those things are important. Here's what it normally is. Here's what it is when you buy it from me. You're going to get the results you're looking for. 90-day money back guarantee. What do you think? At least put that stuff in there. Okay? Oh, look, right down at the bottom. What it is, what you pay, why it's a deal, the guarantee, soft close. You can screenshot that if you want to make it your own. Oh, I think that was the end. Or did I stop screen sharing? I don't know. What did I do? I can't find it. Was that it? I don't know, y'all. I feel so dumb. I told you. Play. Let's see if that was the end. Continue to share. Is that, am I doing it? Can you see it now? Help! I'm so dumb, y'all. Nope, I guess that must be the end. All right. So that's how I do it. And it's the reason why that part was, I think am I still sharing my screen or no? I am? Stop share. Okay, there we go. I figured it out. The reason why that part is so short, y'all, is because we can talk for a million hours about what to do once you get somebody into a conversation. But if we're not direct converting, like if we're not creating content that converts them into a conversation, it doesn't matter. The key is once we get them into a conversation is to keep it simple. We don't have to overshare a million things, and we start with a story because a story is going to help somebody. And y'all, I just want to say this one thing before I hang up and give it back to Laura so she can close out this ridiculously long call and that I'm responsible for, and I feel bad. Um, I I fall back into the habit of sending a big spiel. I fall back into the habit all the time of being like, here's the percentage, a 937% reduction in crow's feet, and da 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 da, and here's this big long thing, and here's how it helped me. And when I just go back to this, when someone says, when someone comments on my post, for example, and then I say, oh my gosh, are you using a collagen? What has you most interested in it? And then they go, oh, my hair doesn't grow. The first thing I do, y'all, is I go find a story about hair growth. If I do that and send them proof, if I'm proving to them that the product does what they want it to do, I don't have to go into the 937% reduction in curls rate. I don't have to do it because I just proved to them that this girl's hair grew 3 inches in 3 months. That's all they want. And then it's so easy. So it's that same thing when I see a story and when y'all go into the mental wellness movement page and start posting your stories, that's what I'm going to do. As soon as I see Jill's story, I'm going to go, "Oh my God, I have somebody who needs this to see this story." And I'm going to go look them up because they haven't ordered yet. And I'm going to say, "Oh my gosh, Melissa, I saw this story today and it reminded me of our conversation. Do you relate to her at all?" That's how I'm going to get Melissa to say yes.